Okay, let us start with a prayer. Om Gananam Tva Ganapatim Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamasravastamam Jyeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspadana Shranvannutibhisi Dasadanam Om Shri Mahaganadhipataye Namah. Om Vrishabham Charshaninam Vishwarupamadabhyam Grahaspatim Varenyam Om Tadvishno Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Suraya Divi Vachakshuratatam. Can you repeat with me? Hare Rama Krishna 3 times. Om Hare Rama Krishna, Om Hare Rama Krishna, Om Hare Rama Krishna. Okay, Kiran, I saw Kiran coming, so we should shortly have the laptop. So until now, what we covered until now are, to see any matter, first thing is you have to see. I will keep repeating these basics because these are really important to get into your system. Whenever you want to see a particular matter, you first decide the right divisional chart which throws light on that particular area of life. If you want to see something about somebody's children, go to Saptamsha, somebody's parents, go to Vadashamsha. So we'll do a couple of other divisional charts today. We'll see some examples. But the principles are basically the same. What the first house shows, what the second house shows. The basics are the same. First house, fifth house and ninth house are the dharma. Whatever the chart is related to, relating to the chart, the dharma of the person. Those are the dharma trikonas. First house is the very existence. Fifth house is the abilities. Ninth house is the duties, dharma. Similarly, second house is the resources. 2, 6 and 7 are artha trikonas. Second house is resources. Sixth house is using those resources to overcome obstacles. So basically overcoming obstacles. And 10th house is after overcoming the obstacles, what you achieve, what you do. And then 3rd, 7th and 11th are kama trikonas. So third house is kama, means why you should do something. So kama, third house is the seed. It shows the drive and initiative to do things. And then 7th house is the desire that you nurture. And 11th house is the gains, what you finally get out of it, out of doing something. And similarly 4th, 8th and 12th are moksha trikonas. They are the house of overcoming those desires, overcoming the labha chintana, the thought of desire. So 4th house is happiness, comfort. That is basically the starting point of your moksha. First you have to be happy and contented. So contentment is from 4th house and also the direction of your spiritual pursuit. So that is basically the stability, that is 4th house. And 8th house is putting in hard work without a particular gain or without a particular selfish result in mind. Basically unselfish hard work. That is 8th house. And 12th house is finally giving away things and not having any attachment or not having the thought of getting something. 11th house is getting things and 12th house is giving away things. So these are the basic meanings, and these basic meanings. Is it on first of all?
Yeah, it's on.
Okay, it is on. Yeah, it will come. Says no input.
RGB.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah.
Okay, just a matter of time. Okay. Okay. So the meanings are basically the same. And then I said that houses from Lagna shows the essence of your being, and that is immeasurable and imperceivable. And houses from it show various qualities of that self, and again those are imperceivable and immeasurable. But if you see the arudhas of the houses, those are measurable things that you can, measurable and tangible things relating to that particular matter. And then houses from Arudha Lagna shows the measurable self, not the hidden true self, but the measurable, tangible self. So basically that is your image and the status. So houses from there show qualities of that image. So these are the core basics. And then Karakas are basically, those are like project managers. If you see Karaka of children or Karaka of marriage, those are like project managers. Venus is, for example, for the marriage, for the project called getting a person married and having him be happy in his marital life. For, if you look at it as a project, Venus is the project manager. He is in charge of that particular thing in that person's life. And then planets who have Rashi Drishti are like people who have a role in that project always. And Argala is basically a conclusive intervention. It's like somebody who has to do something in that particular project. Like for in the example of chip design that I said, even though the chip design may involve a lot of video compression technology, etc., somebody who doesn't know anything about it will finally come and do the physical design for the chip. He will do the physical layout of which transistors should go. So that person has a conclusive intervention. Without him, the project will not be over. Similarly, a planet having Argala on a particular house is like somebody who has a conclusive role to play. So when his Dasha or Antardasha comes, that role will basically be fulfilled. And a planet with Grahadrishti is like, or planetary aspect, is like somebody who has a desire to work on a project. So if I want to work on, there is a nice project going on at my office, and if I want to work on it, I may or may not end up working on it. It depends on my relation with my boss and my relation with the project manager and the relation between my boss and project manager. So the analogy for boss is the house lord, where I am, where a particular planet is. So depending on the relation between Karaka, house lord and the planet, depending on the three-way relationship, the desire may or may not be fulfilled. And if it gets fulfilled, it will be during a particular dasha. So and I said that Vimshottari dasha is the dasha that you can use to see results very easily. There are so many different dashas with a specific focus. For example, there is a dasha called Mula dasha that shows the mula of whatever happens in your life. Mula means the root, the basis, the root. Mula literally means root of a plant. So Mula dasha is basically the root. So whatever you see is the plant. You don't see the root, it is under the ground. But that is the basis for the plant. So Vimshottari dasha only shows the plant, it doesn't show the root. And Mula dasha, what it shows is the reason for whatever is happening in your life. If something is happening, something good is happening now, is because you did something good in the past life. And the planet involved with that good thing is basically making sure that you are getting the results of that good thing. Similarly, if you are suffering, again you made somebody else suffer in the past life. So because of that you suffer in this life. So the root cause of whatever happens in your life from the point of view of what you did in the past life, that is shown by Mula dasha. So like that there are so many different dashas. There is a dasha called Druk dasha. Druk means drishti, to see. So that dasha shows when God looks at you. That is basically God's blessings when they come to you. This is the dasha that shows the blessings of Guru and the blessings of God. When you get a nice direction, religious and spiritual direction in life. So to see that, there is a dasha called Drishdasha. Similarly, there is a dasha called Sudasha. That is, Sudasha shows the progression of something known as Sri Lagna. Along with Lagna, there is something known as Sri Lagna. In the software, you can see SL, you will see SL in charts, that is Sri Lagna. That is the abode of Lakshmi in your chart. In each person's chart, Lakshmi, when you are born, Lakshmi stays in a particular house. And with the changing time, Lakshmi keeps traveling around the zodiac. So that travel is basically captured by this dasha known as Sudasha. So that dasha will show you where Lakshmi is at a particular time. And like I said earlier, Narayana is effort. He is the effort that you put in. But Lakshmi is the fruits that you get because of the effort. So this dasha does not show what you are doing. This dasha shows where things will come easily to you during a particular time. During one time, there may be happiness relating to children. You may get children and you may be happy. During one time, you may be blessed in terms of career. You may be rising in career. So all the blessings will be seen in that chart. So if you want to see when a particular political leader will have the peak or will become prime minister or chief minister, usually they are aligned with the Sudashas. So that is the dasha of Lakshmi's blessings. And by Lakshmi, I don't mean just money. Because as Gajalakshmi, she gives vehicles. As Dhanalakshmi, she gives money. As Santanalakshmi, she gives children. As Rajalakshmi, she gives power, authority. And she even gives moksha as Mokshalakshmi. So when, for example, the Sudasha contains Ketu. Let's say somebody is running Gemini Sudasha, and let's say Ketu is in Gemini in that person's chart. So during that time, some Moksha Lakshmi's blessings will come because Ketu stands for Moksha. So during that time, the person will be spiritual, and things relating to spirituality will come very easily to that person. Whether they come or not depends on other things, but during that time they come very easily. That's what Sudasha shows. So like this, there are hundreds of dashas. There are at least 50 dashas that Parasara talked about, and there are other dashas that Jaimini talked about. And they did not talk about so many dashas for no reason. It's not that he just wants to fill the pages. He talked about individual dashas because they have an individual roles to play. But if you just want to use one dasha and get reasonable results, the dasha is Vimshottari dasha. Parasara said that in Kali Yuga, the Yuga that where we are living, Vimshottari dasha is very important. And Vimshottari dasha traces the progression of moon. I said Sudasha traces the progression of Sri Lagna with changing time. Similarly, Vimshottari dasha is a progression of moon with changing time. When you are born, moon may be in one particular nakshatra, and with time he will be traveling. So it shows where your mind is, where the focus of your mind is at a particular time. So this is essentially the dasha of how your mind looks at things. So even if you see, for example, there may be a political leader, but he may become the prime minister of a country, but he may not feel that power. He may feel like he is being he's basically pushed into a corner by some people and not enjoying it at all. In that case, you will not see it in Vimshottari dasha. You will be able to see it in other dashas. But in Vimshottari dasha, you may not be able to see it. But again, even though his mind is looking at things negatively, people around him, their minds may be looking at it positively. They may be thinking, wow, this guy is so powerful. He's really powerful. So again, to that extent, it may be still reflected in the Vimshottari dasha. But Vimshottari dasha is basically the dasha of mind and how mind looks at things. So it's not perfect, but it's as close to perfection as you can get in one single dasha. Other dashas have a particular focus, but Vimshottari dasha does not have a particular focus. It covers so much ground. So it is a very important dasha. So if you see any divisional chart, and if you see Vimshottari dasha, and you don't have to go below Antardasha, just look at dasha and Antardasha, you can pretty much get the major periods or major events in person's life. We will do some more examples now. So remember that Vimshottari dasha is a very important dasha. Narayana dasha is based on Lagna, progression of Lagna itself. So what is Lagna? True self. Not the image or something, it is the true self. So it is a progression of the true self. So it is the progression of the Narayana within you. So it shows where your effort goes at a given point of time, where your true self is directing its energies towards. That is what Narayana dasha shows. And what Sudasha shows is where the fruits are coming. So if there is by correlating Narayana dasha and Sudasha, you can see when somebody will put effort and when the results of those efforts will come.
Do any of these dashas span several life cycles, or just always one single life cycle?
What do you mean by life cycle?
Rebirth.
When you are reborn, there is a new dasha again.
Completely.
It's a completely new dasha. Even when you are in a womb, there is a new dasha that has its own dasha. The period when a person is in womb, mother's womb, there is a separate dasha, and then when he is born, there is again another dasha. So not only dashas change when you are born, but even before birth there is a different dasha. And for all you know, when a soul leaves this world and goes to maybe heaven or hell or so many lokas, maybe somebody is going to Suvarloka and spending a few hundreds of years before being reborn, or maybe somebody is really an advanced soul and maybe he will spend 1,000 years in Tapoloka before coming back here. So again there may be a different dasha for the existence in that particular loka. But different existences have different dashas. Maybe there are some links between them, maybe there aren't. We don't really know. But the dasha gets reset when you are born. When somebody is in mother's womb, there is a dasha known as, again, Vimshottari dasha. But instead of moon, we use sun's nakshatra to start the Vimshottari dasha. So that dasha is compressed to 9 months in the case of human beings. For animals it will be different. So if you know the exact time of conception, if you find the chart for that conception time, and then if you take sun's nakshatra and then based on it, if you find dasha, you can see major events that happen during those 9 months. If an accident occurs, the thing is, exact conception time is very tough to know, but the thing is, some people did actually research on this. They noted down the possible times. They basically did controlled experiments and they noted down the times, and finally when there was childbirth, there are actually formulas that link the conception time chart. It's called Adhana Chakra, conception chart and the birth chart. There are links between them. They are not totally independent. Based on when conception occurs, the birth chart is actually fixed according to the Shastra.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Time of conception. So
Time of conception will fix the time of birth. So there are formulas that go up to Vadashamsha Lagna in the final birth chart. The exact time cannot be fixed, but a 10-minute period can basically be fixed. But it's not really. There are some secrets there that we don't completely understand. But there are cases where those rules work perfectly. There are some controlled experiments by, for example, Santanam, one of the translators of Brihat Parasara Hora Shastram, he did great research on this. So some astrologers did research with their own, basically in their own cases. They controlled the conception times, and then the final birth chart had a correlation with one of those conception times that they noted down. So basically those principles work to some extent, but we still have to understand them perfectly. So the bottom line is there is a link, and for all you know, the time of death in a particular life may have a link to the conception time in the next life. So from that perspective, there may actually be a link. It's not like all your births are incoherent. There may be a continuity from birth to birth. There may be, but we are not good enough to understand all those links. We know only some. There are some principles based on the exact time when the death occurs. Based on that, you can say for how long the soul will be attached to the mind, and then when the soul will leave, and then which loka it goes to, which loka the soul goes to, and how long it stays, how many tens or hundreds of years the soul lives in that loka, and then where it gets reborn. So that can be projected. There are formulas. For example, at the California workshop last year, Pandit Sanjay Gandhi had a talk on this, on Punya Chakra. It's called Punya Chakra. The time of the chart cast when somebody passes away is called Punya Chakra. So there was a, if you are interested, you can get that recording later from Lynn Carey, from Lakshmi. But there are principles. We don't know how well they work. Basically, whatever has been passed down by his elders, he taught. There may be some missing links. Some things may be perfect and some things may be imperfect. But with God's grace, some of you can do research later and understand it even better. But there is some knowledge out there. So anyway, to come back to the natal chart. Let's concentrate on the natal chart because that's what we understand best.
Something like I heard some when I was child, when Adi Shankaracharya's Pitaripati, when they were taking up a new boy, they know that where he is going to rebirth that next in charge of that particular Peter, something like that. So are they looking at this kind of?
I'm not sure. The thing is, astrology is one way to know somebody's past, present, and what is going to unravel in one's lifetime. But there are so many other ways. Astrology is one way, palmistry is another way, and just divya drishti. If you are spiritually blessed, if you have the spiritual strength, you can basically say the same thing even with spiritual strength. And there are actually some astrologers who use spiritual strength more than astrology. They are astrologers for namesake, but actually it's because of their vak shuddhi, because they keep the purity of their speech. Because of that, their speech becomes really strong, really powerful, and then whatever they say comes right. Whether it's based on solid reasons as outlined by Parasara and Jaimini or not, still their predictions come true. So there are so many different ways. So I don't know what are the approaches that they use. Even in Buddhism there are similar concepts. Yeah, I'm not sure what they use.
There's also one, Hanuman who passed away.
Yeah.
There is a Hanuman Pastor in Madras, I talked to him.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, yes. It's not just Hanuman. Hanuman Upasakas are one example, Hanuman Upasakas. There are Ganesh Upasakas, there are Devi Upasakas. It doesn't matter which god. If you are basically spiritually an advanced soul, then you can have that Vakpala, you can have that Divya Drishti. And Drishti doesn't mean you have a TV in your mind and you can see everything. Basically, you get the inspiration, you just feel like saying something or something is going to happen. So that is Divya Drishti. There is Agnya Chakra. Apart from the eyes, 2 eyes that we can see, there is a chakra known as Agnya Chakra here. That is your 3rd eye. So that Jupiter is the ruler for that, and that gives that basically the eye with which your intelligence can perceive the world. So that is Divya Drishti. It's not really like, it doesn't work like your normal eyes. You don't have a TV in which you see things. Basically the intuition that you have, that comes from Agnya Chakra. So that intuition, your intelligence and intuition, that can also let you make predictions. Now let us see some more examples. I will make a chart. December 14. We will see how to see somebody's parents from somebody's chart. Parents are, let's see career and then let's see parents. December 14, 1946. Does anybody know who was born on this date? Wow, time is almost perfect. I don't have to edit it. I don't know the place, so I'll just edit man. Oops, yeah. 5:30 East. So for those who are listening to the CD, the data is December 14, 1946, 9:29:20. I don't know. I just have it in my computer. I don't know if it's rectified time or reported time, but it's 9:29:20 a.m. 9 hours 29 minutes 20 seconds. The time zone is in India, 5:30 East, and the longitude and latitude are 72 East, 50, and 18 North, 58. For me? PVR Narasimha Rao is 80 years also, around the 80s. He's in 70s. Can't be him. Okay. So I'll keep it. I will not tell you who it is for a while. I'll tell you later. I'm not asking you to guess anyway. But let's see. It's more fun when you don't know anything. It's more fun actually to see what the chart says rather than when you know and start. Because when I say who he is, you start basically extrapolating things so that it fits. So let me hear what you have to say without knowing who he is. Pardon me?
Definitely a North Indian.
Good, good. Or South Indian born in North India.
Yeah.
Or an American born in North India. It doesn't matter whether he is North Indian or South Indian. Of course, the latitude and longitude are North India, but let us see the chart. First let's look at Rashi chart. How do you think the Rashi chart is? First thing is Lagna is Capricorn. So what can you say based on that?
Saturn is the master of the house. Hardworking.
For me? Yeah. Hardworking, disciplined.
Disciplined and hardworking.
Yeah. And will it be, see, another thing you have to remember is compared to Sattvic planets, a planet like Saturn is just cold-hearted. It's not just discipline, but it's cold-hearted discipline. So, if somebody has Makara Lagna, and that too Saturn aspects Lagna, because Lagna is owned by Saturn, and Lagna is aspected by Saturn, will the person be very cold in his approach? More than being a compassionate person who is worried about others. I'm not saying he's a bad person, but there is some level of coldness that you can see based on Lagna. But this is his true self. Now, I'm not talking about the perceived self. Based on his true self, there is some level of coldness and very disciplined, and perhaps hardworking too, like somebody said. Coldness means, see, unemotional and cold-hearted. Saturn has no emotions. Even Mars has no emotions, but the thing is, in the case of Mars, it's like just aggression. Here it's not aggression. It's thinking and deciding what is the right thing to do and doing it without worrying about any emotions. That's basically Saturn. Who is the planet who forces the karma, results of karma on you. If there is no Saturn, It will take many lives to get rid of the bad karma that you did. But because the greatness of Saturn is, he washes it away very fast. Because he has no emotions. He doesn't, if somebody is hurt or sad, he doesn't care. That is the right thing to do, well, then do it. That's his approach. And then,
Saturn is aspecting Lagna, so
Saturn is?
it's strong enough.
Right. Now let's see one thing actually before going further. Is it a materialistic person or is it a spiritual person?
Location.
Because even with that coldness, it can be a spiritual person.
Actually,
Saturn can actually show spiritual sadhakas also. But for that, what you have to see is, what did I say earlier? Ketu, let's go later, but the real spirituality, let's go to later. But basically, sadhus, the difference between sadhus, saints and materialistic people is, if you look at Arudha Lagna, what is the rule I said? Look at the 3rd and 6th from Arudha Lagna. Because that is your image. And 3rd and 6th are your boldness and how you fight. Your fighting ability, your boldness and fighting ability. Those are 3rd and 6th from Aroha Lagna. In the case of a sadhu or saint, you will have benefic influences there. Jupiter, Venus, Mercury, and if moon is benefic, then moon. So those are the planets you would expect. In the case of a materialistic person, an achiever, a materialistic achiever, you will see Mars, Rahu, Ketu, Saturn there. So if you see Arudha Lagna, where is Arudha Lagna?
Arudha Lagna is in Libra.
Arudha Lagna is Libra. So 3rd house is Mars and along with MD. Who is MD? Mandi. So from Arudha Lagna in Libra, the 3rd house Sagittarius has Mars and Mandi, 2 malefics. Of course, Mars is the main planet, but being with Mandi, he is a highly malefic Upagraha. He is Saturn's son. So being with Mandi, Mars is even more powerful. And to add fire to the wind, what kind of a sign is it? Of course, it's not a malefic sign, but still it's a fiery sign. Dhanush is an Agni Rasi. The Agni Rasis, there are 3 Agni Rasis: Aries, Leo and Sagittarius. These 3 are the Agni Rasis. And then the next 3, Taurus, Virgo and Capricorn are Bhu Rasis. They are earthy signs. And then Gemini, Libra and then Aquarius are Aries signs. And finally Cancer, Scorpio and Pisces. Those are watery signs. So try to remember that. And here Mars himself is an Agni Graha, a fiery planet, and he is in an Agni Rashi, fiery sign. So definitely Mars is very, very fiery. He is full of fire. Mars in this case is full of fire. So Mars full of fire and corrupted by Mandi, being in the 3rd from Aroha Lagna, is clearly a clear indication that this is a materialistic person. This is not a sadhu. This is not a saint. I am not saying not a spiritual person. A person, actually materialistic is also a bad word. What I mean is somebody who is not a saint. Somebody who forces his will on people. Somebody who is aggressive. So that is the kind of person. And then if you want to see spirituality, then see Ketu's placement, see Atmakarakas placement, etc. So I will not say he is not spiritual, but he is not a sadhu or he is not a saint. That is for sure. And now let us see how other planets are placed from Aruha Lagna. So if you see Aruha Lagna, who are in Aruha Lagna? Venus and Jupiter. And which sign is it? Libra. So who dominates Venus? Does Venus dominate or Jupiter? Venus is in one sign. So Aruha Lagna is in Libra with Venus in it. So what is the kind of image this person has?
Loving
Entertainment.
Yeah, it could be entertaining. It is also very pleasant basically. He is a very pleasant person. When you are with that person, it's not like I said he is very cold-hearted. That is his true nature. I said he is a cold-hearted person. He is not emotional. And based on Mars placement, you know that he is known in the world as somebody who is very bold and who does what he wants. He has a lot of fire, he does what he wants. So as far as his initiative is concerned, people have that clear image that he has fire. But when they are talking to him, when they are with him, they think that he is very pleasant to be with. And also very passionate. Venus is the planet of passion. So he is a very See, Parashurama, Venus is basically Parashurama. So he is pleasant, but at the same time he is not like Moon. Moon and Venus both are planets of art, planets of pleasant personality. But in the case of Moon, he is very easygoing, he is very, whatever you say, he will say yes. That is the nature of Moon. Moon has no enemies. If you look at the planetary relationships, Moon is friendly with everybody. Moon doesn't have any enmity with any person. So Moon is like an easygoing artist. But Venus is, he is like a very passionate artist. He has a clear agenda and he goes after that agenda. He is like Parashurama. So Moon is very passionate. Venus is very passionate. So that's basically Venus. So he is a very passionate but very pleasant person to be with. So that's basically the image. But at the same time he has the image of somebody very bold and very aggressive. That's basically the image that he has. And look at the second from Arudha Lagna. Never ignore the second from Arudha Lagna, because what is the second house? Resources. And in the world of Maya, resources are important. You judge a person's level by looking at the resources he has. If somebody has a lot of money, irrespective of his abilities and other things, you will have a very high image of that person. If somebody has a nice house or he has lot of land or lot of money in the bank, if he is in the Forbes list of top 100 or top 500 people in America or India or somewhere or Russia, you will have a very high image of that person. So when I say somebody's image, even though Arudha Lagna is the basis for somebody's image, it's not just Arudha Lagna. You have to look at all houses, because they qualify that image, they modify that image. So all the houses are important, and out of all the houses, the second house is particularly important. The resources you have at your command show people who you are. So look at the second house. So what are the planets in the second house? Mercury, Sun and Ketu. And who dominates there? Ketu being in one house, he dominates. And is he a good planet or a bad planet?
Because he destroys the house.
He is a bad planet, but he is in one house. He is in one house. And he, from Lagna, he is the 11th Lord. The house of gains. The Lord of the house of gains is in the house of gains. And I said for malefic planets, what are the good placements? 3rd, 6th and 11th. Those three are really good placements for malefic planets. So Ketu in 11th is extremely well placed in an Upachaya in the 11th house. That too in bone sign. So Ketu is quite strong. So that Ketu is given the charge of enriching his image, making his image look resourceful. So he will indeed make it look resourceful. But the thing is, because he is a planet of, he is a negative planet, he is a malefic planet, there is something malefic associated with it. And also Sun is also there. Usually Sun in the second from Arudha Lagna will give some political power. The resources that his image is perceived to have at his disposal has some political angle to it, because Sun is the political planet. So because Sun is in the second house from Arudha Lagna, you can say that this person will have some political power. I am not saying he is a politician or a prime minister or a chief minister, but the resources at his disposal are perceived to be political. He has, people think that he has some political resources at his disposal. Yes, might be.
If it means resources, is it that?
Could be. It can be your own resources, your parents' resources, even your friends' resources. If, for example, a big politician, let's say, is the chief minister of a state, but let us say one of his friends is a big contractor, and then when people look at him, wow, he has such nice connections that he will always get his projects sanctioned. So if people have that image, it's because of his connections. So Sun in the second from Arudha Lagna can even show political connections. It's basically the resources. Resources can be connections. It doesn't have to be something solid, because we are not talking about A2. If you are talking about A2, that is basically the resources, the actual resources that you have, tangible things. But here we are talking about the second house from Arudha Lagna. So still this is something in people's minds. So this is something in people's minds which looks his image, which makes his image look more resourceful. People will think, wow, he is very resourceful. And if somebody has political connections, somebody has the chief minister of a state or governor of a state or lieutenant governor of a state, if one of those people is your friend, that will have an impact of how resourceful you appear to people. People think you are resourceful and can get things done because of your connections. So, Sun in the second house from Arudha Lagna, he shows some political connections. But Sun is corrupted by Ketu.
Exactly.
Sun is corrupt. Is that what you are going to say? Yeah. So he is corrupted by Ketu. So his political resourcefulness has some undesirable aspect to it. People do not like his political connections. He has political connections. He is perceived to be politically connected, but people don't like that. They think that there is something bad there because there is an eclipse going on. Ketu is eclipsing Sun. But there is enough distance between them. So see, Sun is at 28 degrees and Ketu is at 17 degrees. So it's not that bad. It's not that bad. So
Jupiter, Venus, which are very close.
Jupiter, Venus are very close. Okay.
1 degree.
Okay. So that is another very important point. He pointed out that Jupiter and Venus in Arudha Lagna are extremely close.
So pretty much eclipse.
Just 1 degree. It's not eclipse. It's basically those are eclipse is only for Sun and Moon by Rahu and Ketu. Here Jupiter and Venus, are they friends?
Enemies.
They are enemies. The two teachers are, one is the teacher of Rakshasas, demons, the other is the teacher of gods. They are enemies. So usually when you see two planets so close, especially if they don't get along well, you can expect some clash between them. Even though Venus is in one house, one sign, still there is a clash between the two. So that means as far as the image he projects is concerned, there is a tight clash. Some people see him as a Jupiter, as somebody who as a very intelligent and wise person with nice judgment and discretion, and some people see him as a very passionate person. So there is a split image. There are two images of that person. The people have different images. So that's what it shows. If you see that not in Arudha Lagna, but if you see that in Lagna, then what you can say is the true self is split between two extremes. So such a person may have a split personality, or he may always have that internal clash. So that person may be even confused. If there are other indications of confusion, if Moon is afflicted, such a person may be even confused. But there will be multiple influences on his personality. Here, there are multiple influences on his image. So he has a dual image in the world. For example, this is not Osama bin Laden's chart, but if you see Osama bin Laden, some people see him as a great martyr. A big percentage of the world, unfortunately or fortunately, sees him as a martyr, sees him as a bold fighter against selfish interests of the world. It may or may not be true. I don't want to give my opinion there. But another significant percentage of the world sees him as a ruthless terrorist, a mindless, idiotic person. So there is clearly a dual image, a duality of the image. So if you see Arudha Lagna of such a person, definitely there will be multiple influences that are equally strong and have a clashing kind of thing, like two planets being too close. Actually, somebody had a question there. I'll take that first. Yes, Kiran?
What about plot from ANC?
We don't look at rulerships from Arudha Lagna.
Okay, and what about if this kind of...
Just 1 second. Excuse me. Hello? Oh, roaming. Gosh. That's okay. I'll leave it. Basically, the latest core update. Unfortunately, I'm not trying to get it. Okay. I told them to call every half hour.
Third from AL has Mars for...
Yeah?
Sixth from AL is Jupiter. So isn't this...
But he's not there. The one, like I said, Arudha Lagna, when you look at the third and sixth from Arudha Lagna, the rulership does not matter. The planets who are there and the planets who are aspecting it, they matter. Especially Rashi Drishti. And here if you see third and sixth from Arudha, the only planet there and only planet aspecting them is Mars. He's in third and he's aspecting sixth. So, only Martian influence is there. The ownership doesn't matter. And when you are looking at Jupiter being in Arudha Lagna, don't think that Jupiter is the sixth lord in Lagna. He is the third lord and 12th lord in Arudha Lagna. Jupiter is the 3rd lord and 12th lord. So if you want to see what are the activities the person does, which are impacting his image, then what you have to see is the 3rd house and 12th house. So what is the 3rd house? House of initiative. And what is the 12th house? The house of loss. So basically the losses that he incurs and the boldness that he exerts, those are what decide his image. So that is how you would judge Jupiter being Aruh Lagna. You will not say Jupiter is 6th lord. Okay, now your question.
Venus is so strong and dominating.
Yes.
First of all, 2 planets in the same house.
Yeah.
They become natural enemies.
Yeah.
And they're also enemies to their
compound, extremely Adhishatrus. Yeah.
They're Adhishatrus. It means Jupiter is totally suppressed to a certain extent, or how do you?
He is basically in an enemy's house. But just because you are in your enemy's house, it doesn't mean you just keep quiet.
You still try to do something.
Maybe you fight. If I'm at my worst enemy's house,
You fight him.
I don't like being there, but once I am there, will I just keep quiet? Oh, this is my enemy's house, I am not going to do anything. Will I keep quiet? I will fight. But the thing is, if I am in this corner of the room and if he is in that corner, maybe I will just sit quiet. But if I am in the middle of the room and he is also next to me, we are probably exchanging blows. Yeah. So if you see, even a planet like Jupiter, even if he is a very peaceful planet, still any planet, if he is very close to an enemy in enemy's house, he will put a fight. He will not just take it easy and give up. But the thing is, Venus will win. And another thing, even if this is Venus' own house, if Jupiter is more advanced in terms of degrees, then Jupiter would have won. When you have 2 planets very close to each other in longitude, see who is more advanced. That planet will win eventually. So here, Venus is at 24 degrees, 2439, and Jupiter is at 2353. So actually Venus wins. Otherwise, had the longitudes been reversed, actually Jupiter would have won after a tough fight. Yes.
And what if the longitudes were say 1 degree Jupiter and 28 Venus?
Then they are not even fighting.
Not even fighting.
One is in this corner, one is in that corner, like in the analogy I gave. Okay. They are coexisting happily.
So what is the
excuse me.
Yeah.
But then what is the influence of Jupiter in that case? Like, though he's not fighting.
Yeah. Whatever influence he has, whatever houses he has, he will basically take care of those houses. Because he owns the 3rd house, he will give some determination that will impact his image.
Do the positive.
Yeah, even now he is doing the positive. Yeah. But the thing is, then he would have easily done it. Now he has to fight with Venus and he has to lose. And had Venus been away from Jupiter, he would have given his results even more. So he would have been seen as somebody who is fighting wisely, rather than somebody who is very passionate. Venus gave that passionate image. Jupiter gives a very wise person image. Even though he owns the 3rd house, because of owning 3rd house, he will be seen as somebody who takes wise initiative. Being the wise planet who owns the 3rd house, being in Aruh Lagna, he would have given the image of somebody who's taking the wise initiative, who is showing some boldness, but very wisely so, and for a just reason. So that is the image Jupiter would have given. But unfortunately, now he cannot give it that easily. Had they been separate, he would have given it. Had they been together, but Jupiter been ahead, he would have again given it, but after a lot of tough fight. Now he gives lot of tough fight, but not that image. Finally, that image will not be given. The final image is of somebody. Of course, always there will be some minority who have that image of him as a very peaceful and wise fighter. But many people just see him as a passionate person. Yes.
My question is, if they are so close together,
Yeah.
fighting at a degree of strength,
Yeah.
is there a remedy that somebody can suggest? Okay, this particular mantra you recite, and then you can reduce the strength of the Venus, so that Jupiter will rise.
Yeah. You want to strengthen Jupiter. If Jupiter is weak, the remedy is basically pray to Jupiter. If you pray to Jupiter, then Jupiter will be strengthened. And another thing you can do is, instead of praying to Jupiter, you can pray to Sun. If Jupiter is weak, because Rahu is with him or Venus is with him or somebody else is with him and corrupting him, Jupiter is basically like a priest. So if priest is being troubled by a dancing girl, for example, Venus, let me give the analogy of dancing girl here, or Rahu, a Rakshasa, a villainous person is coming and troubling the priest, let us say, then if you strengthen the priest, still he can't really, he will try to fight, but there is a limit to the extent to which Jupiter can fight. He is a Brahmin, he is a peaceful priest. So, Sun is the well-wisher of Jupiter. Sun and Jupiter are one group. Venus, Mercury, Saturn, they are another group. So, and Sun is the king. So, if you strengthen the king, king will come and help the priest out. So, whenever you see a Brahmin, Vishwamitra for example, he knew Astra Shastra, he could fight, he knew what kind of arrows to use, what are the mantras for arrows, he knew everything. He was the one who taught Rama. But Vishwamitra, when these Rakshasas were troubling him, Maricha and Subahu, when he wanted to do the yajna in Ramayanam, when Maricha and Subahu were troubling him, he did not kill them, he did not fight with them. What did he do? He went and asked Dasaratha, he took Sri Rama with him, he taught him how to fight, he taught him so many mantras and so many new shastras and astras, and then he took him and he made Rama kill them. He did not do it. So, Jupiter is like Vishwamitra, and Maricha and Subahu are like Rahu or Ketu, and Sun is basically Sri Rama. That is the analogy. So, if you want Vishwamitra to do his stuff happily, you better get Sri Ramachandra there. So, similarly, if Jupiter is in a fight with somebody, praying to Sun will help, unless Sun is actually a problematic planet in this particular case, which is not. If Sun is also, let us say, 8th Lord or 12th Lord or 6th Lord or something, and if he is with Jupiter, if he is taking the other side, then you better not pray to Sun. But otherwise, praying to Sun will give results faster than praying to Jupiter, when he is troubled by somebody.
It is 8th Lord, right?
It is 8 Lord.
Yeah, but he has no link, he is not with them. And 8 is not that bad anyway, because Jupiter himself owns the 3rd house and 12th house. So they have similar agendas. Sun and Jupiter have similar agendas. On the other hand, Venus is Yoga Karaka. So okay, let us leave that. And then, which planet is badly placed? Give me one planet which is really badly placed. Another thing actually before that, Mercury is also well placed. Mercury
is Lord of 6
Lord of 6th and 9th,
and 11.
and he is in
11.
11th house, that is good, but also in the 2nd from Arudha Lagna. If Mercury is in the 2nd from Arudha Lagna, it's a Raj Yoga according to Parasara. He will give lot of resources to that person.
And also like maybe good speech.
Yeah. If Mercury is in the 2nd from Arudha Lagna, he will be a good speaker.
Very good.
Yeah.
Rahu is badly placed.
Rahu, why? He is the 2nd Lord, he is a neutral planet, he is in the 5th house. So what is so bad about him?
5th house, children,
Yeah.
desire.
Desire is 7th house.
Okay.
5th house is children. Yes, 5th house is children. But why is Rahu that bad? He is 2nd Lord, 2nd house of family.
Moon is badly placed.
Yes. Moon is badly placed. For Moon, 8th house is called Maranakaraka Sthana. For every planet there is one house which is really bad. For Sun it is 12th. For Moon it is 8th. For Mars and Mercury it is 7th. For Jupiter it is 3rd. For Venus it is 6th. For Shani it is 1st. For Rahu it is 9th. Dharma. If he is in Dharma, he kills. He is unhappy. Yeah. So there is a house for each planet known as Manakaraka Sthana. If the planet is in that house, basically that house is destroyed. So here, Moon is the 7th Lord in the 8th house. So marital happiness is not good, just based on this. And second thing, if 7th Lord is in the 8th house, is he a Maraka? I mentioned this earlier. 8th house is the house of longevity. 3rd and 8th are houses of longevity, of life. And the 12th from there are the loss of longevity. 2nd and 7th are the killer houses. So if the lord of a killer house is in the house that is supposed to give longevity, or the vice versa, that is problem. If 8th Lord is in 7th or 7th Lord is in 8th, That is problem. So, do you think that this person will die in Moon Dasha? When is Moon Dasha?
There is a chance.
1970.
There is a good chance. Actually, if you look for markas here, he is the strongest marka. Second house does not have any planet. Seventh house has a planet, but he can't kill. Saturn is Lagna Lord.
Maybe Moon, Sun, Antar would be. Sun is also.
Yes, that is possible. That is possible, but let's not go into Antar. Just say Dasha.
Yeah.
Do you think Moon would have given death to this person? Yes. This person was born in 1946 and he died in 1980.
Wow.
Sanjay Gandhi.
Yes, it is Sanjay Gandhi. This chart belongs to Sanjay Gandhi, who died in June 1980.
But like marital happiness, if you look at Navamsha.
Yeah, that is actually more important.
Yeah.
So, that's what I was going to come. If you see that 7th house is weak, 7th house is afflicted in Rashi, but in Navamsha, if you see 7th house strong, that means the person has problems not with wife, but general relations with people.
Yeah.
Those relations are spoiled, not marital relations. So that is possible, but based on what we saw, we said it. Now let us go deeper. We just looked at Rashi. Let us look at Navamsha now. Navamsha. So in Navamsha, look at Lagna. The 7th house will show spouse, the marriage, and 7th lord will show the spouse. So 7th house, is it strong or weak?
Pretty strong. Moon is own house.
Moon in own house. So what do you think?
So marital happiness is there.
Marital happiness is there. And for marital happiness, another thing you have to see is first, the strength of Lagna Lord. Is Lagna Lord strong?
Yeah, very strong.
If the 7th house is strong, you only know that there is a strong marriage and strong wife, nice wife. It doesn't mean he will be happy. So to see his happiness, you have to look at Lagna and 4th house. 4th house is the Sukhasthana. Lagna Lord, where is Lagna Lord?
11, Saturn in
Saturn in 11th house. And aspecting Lagna. Lagna Lord aspecting Lagna from an Upachaya. For Saturn, 11th house is a good house. So Lagna is very strong. Where is 4th house?
Fourth house is Mars.
4th house is owned by Mars and he is in, yeah, he has Argala on that house and he is with two nice planets, Jupiter and Venus. So not great because he is in an enemy's house. Mars and Venus are enemies. So 4th lord is in enemy's house. So there is some Sukhalopa. So the marital comfort is actually not so good. But overall this person has a good marriage. That you can see. And what can you say about the wife? Now take this as the Lagna. If you want to say something about somebody's wife or husband, take this house as the Lagna. And then from 7th house, yes. Take the 7th house as Lagna. And then take look at all the planets, how they are. Now, one rule that I haven't mentioned so far is, if you want to see the main abilities of a person, the main God-given abilities, look at the trines in Navamsha. The first, 5th and 9th houses in Navamsha, they will show what kind of strengths a person has. They will be of the nature of the planets there. For example, if you look at Sanjay Gandhi, what are the planets in trine? Jupiter, Mars, Venus and Mercury. Out of those, Venus is really strong being in one house. And the strengths, Venus, what kind of strengths will Venus give? Passionate and good management skills. Venus is a good manager. Sun is also a good manager, but Sun is a macro manager and Venus is a micro manager. Sun is like a king. He says, hey minister, you do this, and then he's done. He doesn't care what are the details, but Venus is a micro manager. So if you see, if you want to see a politician, Sun is important. If you want to see a manager in today's managerial context, in today's corporate context, Venus is actually more important for management than Sun. So because he is very passionate, he is like Parashurama and he gets involved in the details. Venus is a tapasvi. So he can get involved and he can deal with demons and he can make those demons do things. So he is, when you are dealing with people who are less than perfect, he can get things done by them. So Venus is a good micromanager. So he is a good manager. And then Mercury, intelligence, good analytical ability and good speech. So these are the other abilities. And if you look at his wife, This is the reference now. And from here, who are the planets in trine? Moon, Saturn, and Sun. Sun gives political knack. She may not be a micromanager like Sanjay Gandhi, but his wife Manaka Gandhi, she has the political mind. So Sun in a trine shows political mind. Of course, whether she uses it or not, whether she is successful or not, that depends on other factors. But her innate ability is seen from trines in Navamsha. So now you see the trines from the 7th house. Then you see the abilities of spouse. And moon is actually quite strong. Moon is very strong. So what does that show? What is the nature of moon? Moon is the peaceful planet. Peaceful and happy-go-lucky kind of planet. So moon being in a trine from the 7th house, that shows the person basically has a basically love of peace. Love of peace is another innate ability of that person, and has some internal calm, internal comfort, internal calmness which is given by moon. That is another innate ability. And then Saturn. Saturn is in a trine. What does Saturn show? Saturn is aspect of tradition and conservatism. So Saturn makes her traditional, and also knowledge relating to tradition, knowledge of Puranas. I don't know if Manaka Gandhi has those, but as per Shastra, Saturn in a trine gives knowledge of Puranas. In general, knowledge of the wise findings of the elders. That's basically how you can summarize it. So that is the abilities. But taking that as Lagna, look at where all the planets are. So Jupiter, Venus and Mars are in 11th house. So they are quite well placed. There is a nice Dharma Karmadhipati Yoga. From Cancer, Moon in Cancer, the 9th Lord Jupiter and the 10th Lord Mars are together. So what that means is that gives a Dharma Karmadhipati Yoga. So she does her duties, she discharges her duties in society sincerely. And then Moon in Lagna. So that shows she is a very peace-loving person, very peaceful person, and also perhaps a sensitive person. And then Mercury in the 3rd house. What does that show? 3rd house of communications, and Mercury is the natural communicator. So she is a very good communicator and very good writer. I don't know if she wrote anything, but she may write some books. If not already, she may write later. But usually Mercury in 3rd shows that she will be a good author. Good authorship skills. Maybe if not books, maybe some articles. Did she write any books?
No,
I think it was one or two actually.
Yeah. She will be a good author basically. Even articles, columns.
He actually started a magazine.
Oh, she did, okay.
Yeah.
That is also possible.
He stopped after
I see.
he died.
I see. She may write some books, some well-known books, or she may write.
Being there, tell something.
A6 is his overcoming of obstacles. We are talking about Manaka now. So let's forget Arudhas from Lagna.
You want to change this regarding stuff?
Yes, I will stop it and restart. Okay. Okay. You. What is your question? What is your question? Rahu badly placed? Yeah. Does everybody think that Rahu is badly placed? He is in the 12th house. But which house does he own? 8th house. From Cancer, Rahu owns the 8th house Aquarius. 8th Lord in 12th house. Is that bad? It is good. But it shows it is Viparita Rajoga. So it shows in life constantly there will be struggles and then she will come up. After struggle, she just comes up. Things take a turn for the better and she comes up. That's what Rahu shows. So when is Rahu Dasha?
We didn't get there.
Rahu Dasha is from 1990 to 2008. So as far as wife is concerned, during 1990 to 2008, the Viparita Rajoga will work. She will have worries, constant tension because Rahu is in the 12th house. But finally the worry will be overcome. She will finally come up trumps. So that is what Rahu Dasha shows. Yes, Kiran?
This person died in 1980, so...
Still the Dashas will work. Because his wife, his children, they are all still living. The Dashas will still work.
But also, when you take that, for example, Moon, have the wife. Really, how closely does it match the wife's chart?
It doesn't have to match the chart.
It
It doesn't have to match the chart. There can be some links in some cases when there is a strong karmic connection. But it basically, it shows, actually, let me put it this way. If you look at somebody's Navamsha, whatever you see in the Navamsha about the spouse is basically the spouse from his point of view, how he looks at the spouse. So let me give the example of Dashamsha, it will be clear, or Saptamsha. If you see Saptamsha, it shows children. So if you look at my father's Saptamsha, my mother's Saptamsha, and if you try to see me in both the Saptamshas, you will still see what happens in my life. But right now what happens in my life may be looked at differently by my father and my mother. My father may think, oh, he has a nice career, he is coming up as an engineer, and then he is teaching astrology, he is getting name as an astrologer, I am proud of him. That may be what my father thinks. And my mother may think he is ignoring his health, he sleeps so late, why does he have to write a book, he's totally ignoring his health. So that may be how my mother looks at me. So because of that, if you look at my mother's Saptamsha, my father's Saptamsha, if you correlate with the dashas, you may see a bad dasha where bad health is shown here. You may see a good dasha where reputation is shown there. So basically, when you see a relative in a particular person's chart, you don't see everything about that relative. You see what is basically relevant from the point of view of the actual native. So from the point of view of Sanjay Gandhi, she is a peace-loving person. From the point of view of somebody else, she may be a very aggressive person. If you look at Indira Gandhi's chart, and if you look at his son's daughter, his second son's daughter, is he second son? Second son. So second son's, not daughter, second son's wife, if you see in Indira Gandhi's Saptamsha, you may see quite contrary indications. You may see somebody who is very quarrelsome, not somebody who is very peaceful. So this is not the complete reality about Maneka Gandhi. This is the reality from Sanjay Gandhi's point of view. So there doesn't have to be a strong correlation, but sometimes there is. Yes, somebody else had a question. No? Okay. Now, enough with Navamsha, let us go to Vadashamsha. First let's see Dashamsha. I'm just curious to see how the Dashamsha is. Then the main thing is I wanted to see Vadashamsha here, so we'll go there. Okay, in Dashamsha, so what kind of karma he does? The Lagna is Virgo. So what is his true nature as far as his activities in society are concerned? What is the true nature of this person? An intelligent person, a very thinking person, because the Mercury and Virgo both are very intelligent. So very intelligent person, that you can directly see. And then the ninth house. Who is in the ninth house? Jupiter. Jupiter is in the ninth house. So what does that mean? Strong sense of dharma, because ninth house is the house of dharma. So he has a strong sense of dharma. Then
10th is Venus and Rahu is there.
Yeah, let's come to 10th house. The 10th house has Venus and Rahu in it. So is that a good combination? Venus is the 9th lord. If 9th lord is in the 10th house, that is a good combination. Dharma lord going into karma, so he will bring dharma into his karma. But he is with Rahu, and Rahu is the 6th lord. From Kanya Lagna, Virgo Lagna, he owns the 6th house of Aquarius. So that means 6th house is the house of obstacles and enemies. So in discharging his duty, his dharma, in discharging his dharma, in his activities in society, he has to overcome lot of obstacles and enmities. And he may also create lot of obstacles in the process of discharging his dharma because of Venus-Rahu conjunction. And then, who is in the Arudha Lagna? See, this is the Arudha that we all see actually. The Rashi Arudha, that's not exactly what we see. The image we have of Sanjay Gandhi is not based on interacting with him. It's based on the karma he did in the society.
Which is much more relevant.
Right. So, when you see, for example, the image you see of a spiritual leader may be from his Vimshamsha. So, we see image of a person from various divisional charts. The image you have of me is mostly based on my Siddhamsa, my D24. Because of my learning, you have a particular image of me. So different people have different images of this person. The Rashi image is the overall image. It's the overall image of people who know him well. But the image that we all have, it doesn't have Jupiter in it. It has Venus and Rahu in it. So very passionate and very stubborn, very demon-like person. Rahu is a demon. So there is a demon-like image of this gentleman in the world, unfortunately. And then Moon. More than Venus being afflicted by Rahu, on the same axis we have Moon also. Moon is really afflicted by Ketu. What house does Ketu own?
Third.
Yes. Ketu owns the third house. So because Ketu owns the third house of boldness, basically in any case, irrespective of the house Ketu owns, Moon in Sagittarius with Ketu is afflicted. He is with a very bad enemy. Moon is being eclipsed. So Moon will give very bad results. He is already eclipsed. Eclipsed by whom here? By a malefic planet who owns the third house. So that the bold things that he does, the initiative that he takes, that initiative will basically eclipse Moon. So because of that initiative, he has a bad image. And then he is also placed in the 7th from Arudha Lagna. I haven't mentioned this before, but the 7th from Arudha Lagna, what does it show? It's basically the desire of the image. Who said relations? Okay. 7th house also, as a process of fulfilling your desires, you also have relationships with people. So desire and associated relationships are from the 7th house. But in the case of Arudha Lagna, there is no relationship. In the world of Maya, there is no relationship, there is only fighting. It's not like in the world of Satya, I can live with Shashanka Garu and I can learn something from him, he can learn something from me. So there is an interaction going on between us. So that interaction will be seen from the 7th house. In the world of Satya, there is an interaction. In the world of Maya, there is no interaction between two Mayas. There is only fighting between two Mayas. The world of Maya, the world of images, the world of status, that world is the world of fighting. In the world of Maya, there is no cooperation and learning from each other. There is only fighting and exploitation. So the 7th from Arudha, more than showing the people you work with, it shows the people that you fight with. Because any person that you are with, whether it's your mother, father, brother, at one level or the other, it boils down to fighting in the world of Maya, just from the point of view of Maya. So Arudha, 7th house. 7th house from Arudha Lagna is the house of who you are fighting with. So Moon and Ketu being there, that shows basically some fighting of the image, some opposition to the image. Not obstacles, but some people who are opposed to your image. So Moon Dasha will show some bad image. So during 1973 to 1983, he actually got a very bad image. During that time, all these forced operations, the family planning operations were forced on Indians in North India, and whole villages were basically forced. The men were forced to have operations so that they can't have children anymore, because India had such a huge population problem, and the approach he decided is forceful operations. And people hated him. People had an image of a demon like Rahu. And another thing you have to note is Ketu is the planet of moksha. Ketu is the planet of just getting away. He is the planet of burning things. He is the planet of reducing things to ashes. So the determination here, the third, being the third lord afflicting Moon in the 7th from Arudha Lagna, the bad image he gives relating to some strong initiative is relating to something of a burning nature, something of destructive nature, something that is basically killing children here, for example.
But in Dashamsha we show
what karma is. Yeah, this is the career of this person is to force people to not have children. That is one aspect of the career, yes.
But we have to see 6th and 7th, whether is a manager or whether he is a serviceman or something.
Right. So if you want to see that, see the like I said earlier, this is not something that always works, but as a thumb rule, what I gave is strong sixth house will show a worker, and strong seventh house will show somebody who has his own business. And which is stronger here? Which is stronger? The six, both are empty. Both of them are empty. And which house has aspects of people? This house is aspected by, sixth house is aspected by sun. So, what is sixth house? The house of overcoming obstacles. The house of overcoming obstacles. So, in the matter of overcoming obstacles, what is the permanent influence? Sun. So, what is sun's approach to overcoming obstacles? Politics, okay, but authority. He uses authority to get things done. So, if he has some obstacle to overcome, he will say, hey, Prashant, you do this, or hey, Vishal, you do this. So, he will tell people, do this, do this, do this. That is sun's approach. Mars' approach is go and kill, go and fight. Jupiter's approach is nicely talk and then use intelligence to solve the problem. And so, each planet has its own approach to solving problem. Ketu's approach is give up. Even if the thing is reduced to ashes, that's fine. Just walk away. That is Ketu's approach. Rahu's approach is be selfish, cling on to it. So similarly, once again, Sun's approach is that of a king. Get things done by people. So, because this is Rasi Drishti, not Graha Drishti, this is not a desire that gets fulfilled at a particular time. In general, throughout life, as far as overcoming obstacles is concerned, this person's approach is, the approach of this person, Sanjay Gandhi, is help people to do it and get it done. That is his approach. Yes, Prashant.
So, what about the Grahadashti of Saturn here?
Okay, there is Grahadashti of Saturn also. So, that means Saturn has a Grahadashti on the 6th house. So, again, with hard work also, he is capable of working hard also. But in particular dashas.
Sun is exalted in this case.
For me?
Sun is exalted.
Sun is exalted. Sun really dominates. But the thing is, his point is, Saturn has a Grahadrishti on his own house. So that will also be fulfilled. So for example, in Saturn Dasha, 77, 79, when he was out of government, to get things done, he basically, Saturn wants to make this person work hard to overcome his obstacles. So when his mother was out of power, he was actually more than tell people to do. He would have probably worked hard to do whatever he wanted to get done. So that actually Saturn period aligns with when he was out of power. But his general approach, that particular result given by Saturn of making him work hard to do what he wants to do, to overcome the obstacles that he has in his way, that works in this Antardasha, maybe in some other Antardashas. But actually Sun Antardasha is unlikely to happen because Sun has an alternate agenda. In Moon Antardasha it is more likely. But in any case, apart from Saturn Antardasha, in general throughout the life, the main result is given by Sun. So he gets things done very easily by telling people. Some other people, some more people, even if they have political power, they may not be able to do it. They may be used to doing things themselves. So telling people and then getting things done, that may not be in their blood, that may not be in their system. But here it is in his system because Sun has Rasi Drishti on the 6th house. Now, Sun again gives Viparit Rajoga. Does Sun give a Viparit Rajoga? Is everybody clear? Sun is the 12th Lord in the 8th house. So he gives Viparit Rajoga. So during 67-73, during Sandasha, there is a sudden rise in the career of this person. And what kind of rise? It is Sun, so political power. Unexpected political power. And Sun is he well placed from Arudha Lagna? Yes, he is in the 11th from Arudha Lagna. So there are gains. This works. This political power works as a catalyst to the image. And Sun aspects the 6th house. So getting things done by people, even though Rasi Drishti gives results throughout the life, if it didn't happen until then, it will definitely happen during that. So Sandasha is a very good dasha for this particular person. Now let us see his mom.
D40.
Pardon me? No, D40 is the karma inherited from mother's side. If somebody up to 7 generations on mother's side, mother's parents, their parents, if you go up to 7 generations, if somebody did a really bad or really good karma, the results that you get because of that is in D40. Maybe there is something here, but I haven't rectified to that extent. So I don't know if D40 Lagna is accurate. So I will not go there. I will do that only with examples where I know D40 is right. So just look at D12 for mother. That is, D40 is a very high karmic level chart. To see when mother is successful, when mother has problems, etc. D12 is enough. So Vadashamsha, if you open the Vadashamsha of the person, Vadashamsha. So where is Lagna? Lagna is in Capricorn. So where is the fourth house? Fourth house will show mother. Fourth house is? Pardon me?
Yeah, Lord of Fourth is exalted in Lagna.
Right.
And Mars.
Right.
Aggressive.
So let us basically
The fiery side.
now, should we see the fourth house or the fourth lord to see what happens to mother?
We'll see the fourth house and then reference the fourth house.
What is fourth house? The house of comfort. So basically the fourth house here, it will show what comfort he is getting from mother. What happens to mother, whether mother is a prime minister or not, does not really, that's a totally different thing. Whether mother is happy or sad, that's a different thing. But what is the happiness he is getting from mother? That you see from taking the fourth house as the source, as the Lagna. But if you look at the fourth lord, where is Mars? Because people are, planets are people. Rasis are only situations. So the parenting he gets from mother is a situation. It's not an animate thing. But the parent himself or herself is an animate being. So if you look at the fourth lord, Mars, he is exalted in Lagna. So take this as the reference and then you will see what happens to mother. So
is it always like in D12, Lord of the Fourth, wherever the Lord of the Fourth is, you take it as a reference and then?
Actually in any chart, if you want to see what happens to that particular person, whether it is wife or parents or children, the Lord is actually more important. Some people actually don't emphasize it in Navamsha, Vadashamsha, they just take the house itself. But you will get better results by taking the Lord. Because Lord, actually, I want to avoid saying it now, but there is something known as Graha Arudha. Just like there is Bhava Arudha, house Arudha Padas, Arudha first house, second house. For every house Lord there is an Arudha. So if you look at Mars Arudha here, that is actually what is more relevant. That Arudha will show you exactly what the mother is experiencing at a given point of time. So if you see the Arudha, then you will see what happens in Indira Gandhi's life. But let us not go to the Arudha, just stay with Satya and try to make some sense. So if you see basically in other words, fourth house is what happens to, what the mother does to him, how mother takes care of him. And the fourth lord is the mother herself, but her Satya, what is happening to her in truth. And then Arudha of the fourth lord, that Arudha, I haven't defined it yet, Graha Arudhas. That Arudha will show the actual mother, the mother in flesh. So that is from the fourth lord's Arudha. And then you can use each of these to see what is going on. There is a relation between all the three. So let us, instead of confusing, let us just say that you look at the lord. In the case of Manaka Gandhi, the seventh lord was in seventh house itself. So I just took the seventh house. Moon was in the same house. Here, Mars is not in Aries. So I'm finding where Mars is and taking that as Lagna. So if you look at Capricorn, let's see how Sun Dasha was. Actually first let's see how Venus Dasha was. Is Venus Dasha a good Dasha? Why?
Seventh with enemies.
Taking Makara, which contains Mars, the fourth lord, as Lagna, what houses does Venus own? Venus is? Yes, he is the 5th and 10th lord. He is a Yogakaraka. Because he is Yogakaraka, will his mother rise during that time, during Venus period? Yes, she will rise during that particular period. And then, how is Sun Dasha? How is Sun Dasha for mother? Let's see where Sun is. Let's talk about debilitation later. But in general, Sun in the 10th house, can it give political power? 10th house is the house of karma. and Sun is the planet of politics. So Sun in 10th house can give political power. And now let us see what houses Sun wants. And he is debilitated, right? But what house does he want? 8th house. If the 8th lord is debilitated, is it good? It's very good. Not Nijbhanga, but basically if a Dusthana lord is weak, that is good.
You can create the
Yes, the obstacles. 8th house is the house of troubles that have to be overcome. And if the lord who gives the troubles is sad, if he is unhappy, that is good. You don't want him to be excited, you want him to be sad, because he doesn't have a good agenda for you, he has a bad agenda. So 6th lord and 8th lord and 12th lord, they being debilitated is good materially. Actually there is a yoga called Jaya Yoga. Jaya means victory. The combination for that yoga is Lagna lord should be reasonably strong, 10th lord should be exalted, and 6th lord should be debilitated. So if 6th lord is in Nicha and 10th lord is in Ucha, that is good. Because 10th lord is the final karma that you do, and the 6th lord is the process of overcoming obstacles. So if the 6th lord is debilitated, 6th house becomes weak. So that means you don't have a lot of obstacles to overcome. So in general, 6th and 8th houses being weak by their lords being debilitated is good. On the contrary, if the lords are exalted, 6th and 8th lords, if one of them is exalted, it is actually bad news. So here 8th lord being in debilitation in the 10th house is a good combination. So Sun kind of gives all the obstacles easily overcome, or not lot of obstacles, things coming quite easily, and then lot of political power. So it was during Sun Dasha 1967 to 1973 that she rose. She just took Congress under her control. The party split, and then there was some tension, but she had things very easy for her. So this was the time when her mother enjoyed lot of success. Now Moon Dasha. How is Moon Dasha for mother? Moon is the lord of 7th house, and he is Lagna. Is he in friendly house or inimical house? Moon is afflicted by Saturn. Saturn is the planet of, in general, Saturn is the planet of sadness, and Mars is the planet of aggression. And remember this, always Mars and Saturn, they represent two directions. Mars is red in color, blood, anger, etc. And Saturn is blue in color. He is sadness, melancholy. So whenever Saturn and Mars are together, it's an avoidable clash. It's not a good clash. There is a clash between two extremes. So Mars and Saturn combination is not good. It's like two boxers fighting each other. One in red shorts, one in blue shorts, fighting each other. So here, whenever such a fight is occurring, the planet who's involved with them will be troubled. So Mars and Saturn are together here, and then Moon being with them, that is problematic. So Moon suffers because of their fight. So Moon Dasha has negative indications. And at the same time, he gives Raja Yoga. Moon is the 7th lord. So 7th lord, and Mars is the 4th lord. Mars is 4th lord, Moon is 7th lord. So both of them own a quadrant. And Saturn is the Lagna lord, and Lagna is a trine, is also a trine. So both of them, Moon and Mars, being with Saturn, give a Raja Yoga. Raja Yoga in Lagna. So Raja Yoga in the first house for mother. So both Moon and Mars are Yoga Karakas for mother, Raja Yoga Karakas for mother. So during those dashas, mother will have Raja Yoga, but there will be some obstacles, there will be some upsets also, some worries. What can you say about father? We said about mother. Now father, let us see father. Where is father? Okay. Now what is the house for father? 9th house. So take this as Lagna. Again, we come back to the actual Lagna. What is the 9th house? Virgo. So and where is the lord of that? Mercury. He is in Aquarius. So the father's nature is basically based on, again mother, I forgot to mention this. Because Mars is in Capricorn with Saturn, there is some aggression to his mother, and also there is some cold-heartedness in the case of mother because of Mars and Saturn in Lagna. But father, How is father? Aquarius is the sign. Aquarius is the sign of philosophers. Capricorn, even though Capricorn and Aquarius are both owned by Saturn, Aquarius is a more subtle sign. It is the sign of philosophy and thinking. And that too Mercury is there, the planet of thinking, the planet of intellect, the planet of analytical ability. So basically, what can you say about father in one word? A thinker. A philosopher and thinker, that is his father. And Mercury can also give some level of ideology when he is aspected by benefics. Who aspects Mercury here? If you take this as Lagna, from here, Venus and Jupiter are in the 6th house. Venus and Jupiter in the 6th house. So, two benefics in the 6th house from there, aspecting Mercury. So because of the benefic influence, he's not a very aggressive person. And that too, Venus and Jupiter is dominating there, not Venus. Because Jupiter is exalted. Because in Cancer, Jupiter is exalted, Jupiter really dominates. And Cancer is a sign owned by Moon. So it's the sign of compassion. Taurus is the sign of hard work. Virgo is the sign of analytical ability. Gemini is the sign of communication. Pisces is the sign of rishis, advanced spiritual attainment. Dhanus is the sign of dharma, upholding dharma. Similarly, each sign has one theme. And if you look at Cancer, it is the sign of sensitivity and compassion. So Jupiter there, the planet of intellect being there, will give very compassionate nature. So that Jupiter's aspect on Mercury, it shows that means, see, the thing with Mercury is, even though he is an analytical planet, he is a very adaptive planet. Mercury is extremely adaptive. Based on who he is with, he either becomes benefic or malefic. That is the nature of Mercury. He is totally flexible. Mercury is extremely flexible. He is flexible to the extent of being fickle-minded. So that is Mercury. So here, even though he is alone, because of the Rashi Drishti of Venus and Jupiter, he acts like a very benefic planet. So he is a very intelligent person and very compassionate person. But who are in the 12th house? From Mercury, all these planets are in the 12th house. So what does that mean? Losses and also selfless giving. So this person he does not want a lot of things. If the 11th house is stronger, he wants a lot of things. If the 12th house is stronger, he doesn't want a lot of things. So this person gives up things. He can give up anything. This person can give up anything. And he is not very selfish. So that is what you can say about father. And how are Mercury and Mars placed with respect to each other? Are they well placed? If those had the two planets been in quadrants or trines, mother and father would have had a good relation. Here, they are in Vridvadashas, which is basically one planet being in the second from the other, and the other planet being in the 12th from the other is called Dvirdvadasha. Dvir means 2, Dvadasha means 12. So Dvirdvadasha means 2 by 12. So they are in 2 by 12 from each other. So 6 by 8 and 2 by 12 are bad. If two planets are in Shashtastakas or Shadastakas, one being in the 6th from the other and the other being in the 8th from the other, if that is the relationship, or 2 by 12, those are bad relationships. So here, Mercury and Mars are badly placed, and in general their natures also don't match that well. Mars is aggressive and Mercury is analytical and inquisitive, and also compassionate in this case because of Jupiter's aspect. So that is, so there is an incompatibility between father and mother. So that is also coming out reasonably well in the Vadashamsha chart. Pardon me? Oh, Sun is also aspecting Mercury. Yes. Now, let's say we want to find out something about grandfather, maternal grandfather. Jawaharlal Nehru. So, first see mother. Mother is from the 4th house. So, from there we take the 9th house. If you want to see grandmother, we take the 4th from there. If you want to see grandfather, we take the 9th from there. So, from Makara, Aries, Mesha is the 4th house. From there if you find the 9th house, 1, 2, 3 like that, where is the 9th house? Sagittarius. So you see, and who is the lord of Sagittarius? Jupiter. So if you see from there, if you see where Jupiter is, Cancer, that shows, who does it show? Jawaharlal Nehru. Now let us see what is the relationship between Jawaharlal Nehru and Indira Gandhi. Do they have a good relationship? Okay? Do they? Yes, because Jupiter and Mars are in quadrant, aspecting Samsaptaka, and also in quadrants, mutual quadrants. If they are in mutual quadrants, it's a good relationship. And also Jupiter and Mars are friends. Both are exalted and both are friends. So, mother and grandfather are in good terms. They have a very good relationship. But what about Jawaharlal Nehru and Firoz Gandhi? So if you see Jupiter and Mercury, again a bad relationship. It's a Shadashtaka relationship. From Jupiter, Mercury is in 8th house, from Mercury, Jupiter is in 6th house. So again they don't get along well. So you can see from this Vadashamsha, you can see that his mom and his dad don't get along well. His mom and grandfather get along well, but grandfather and father again don't get along well at all. So that is what you can see. Okay. Now,
What about his brother?
whose brother? Rajiv Gandhi?
Yeah.
You don't see it in this chart.
Siblings,
That is a different chart. We will go to that chart. This chart, Vadashamsha or D-12, is a chart of parents and everything above. Once you find father and mother, you can take 4th and 9th from each and then find father's father, father's mother, mother's father, mother's mother. I am not seeing other grandparents because I don't know anything about them. So, there is no point. Whatever I say is the truth because we don't know the truth. But in the case of Firoz Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, we know some things that happened to them. Okay? Okay. Now, what I want to do is, okay, you brought up brother. So let us check that out.
So, Narasimhaji, before we move into brothers,
Yeah.
how do we see mother's demise here? Like which dasha would have given mother's?
Vishwadri Dasha can also give, but sometimes maybe it's not good enough. Because if you are looking at the demise of mother, especially after he passed away, you may or may not see it well. But you should be able to see it from Vishwadri Dasha itself.
No, I was wondering, like in D12, like here, 8, like do we see from the 8th Lord of 8 would be the Marika, the mother, some.
Yes. But the thing is, like I said, I haven't done Graha Rudha, so let us leave it for now. If you want to go to that level, you are interested in his mother in flesh, and then Graha Rudha becomes important. Even sickness, if you want to see for mother sickness, wife sickness, rather than using the Satya, you better use the Maya, because it's all Maya. So Dreshkana, Parasari Dreshkana. This is the chart that shows siblings. So the rules for seeing siblings are, the younger ones are seen from the young sibling just born after you. The next one is from the 3rd house, and the elder sibling who was born before you is before that. You find 3rd house backwards. That means 11th house. So everybody got it so far? So 3rd house is younger sibling, 11th house is elder sibling, because 11th is 3rd counted backwards, 1, 12, 11. Now, if there is another younger sibling or elder sibling, the one born after you, and then let's say one is born after that, that is 3rd from the 3rd. So you keep finding 3rd from 3rd, 3rd from there, 3rd from there, then you will get another younger one, another younger one, another younger one, and so on. So that is how you find younger siblings. Similarly for elder siblings, the one immediately born before you, just before you, that is 11th house. And the one born even before will be 11th from 11, that is 9th. And the one even before will be the 11th from 9th, so that will be 7th. So 3, 5, 7, 9, and backwards 11, 9, 7, etc. There are a lot of exceptions, there is more involved, but these are the basic rules, ground rules. And let's just use the ground rules for today. I will do siblings and children in another class, because There can be lot of siblings and lot of children. To see individual fortunes, there are a lot of complicated rules. But this is the first rule. So let us apply that rule. Where is Lagna? And another exception. The way you count these houses that I mentioned is normal if the sign is odd sign. If it is an even sign, you count backwards. So let us, we have a good example here. This is even. So the concept will be clear. So Lagna is Capricorn Lagna. If you open Dreshkana chakra, Lagna is Capricorn. Is it an even sign or odd sign? Even sign. Because this is odd. Sorry, Aquarius is odd. So this is even sign. So because Makara is an even sign, we count backwards. And is Rajiv Gandhi elder brother or younger brother? Elder brother. So what it means is, and he is the immediate elder brother. So we just take the 11th house, not 9th house. So take the 11th house, but count it
Forward.
no backward. Backward because Capricorn is an even sign. Is everybody with me so far?
No. Can you please repeat?
Yes. What we do is elder brother 11th house, younger brother 3rd house. That is clear, right? That funda is clear. Now, the way we count those houses, it will be normal in the case this sign is an odd sign. Odd signs are first sign, third sign, fifth sign, ninth sign, 11th sign. Those are odd signs. Even signs are second sign, fourth sign, sixth sign, eighth sign and 10th sign. And when I say first sign, I mean Aries. Second sign is Taurus. This is the natural order. So here, this Makara, this is an even sign because Pisces is the 12th sign, this is the 10th sign. So this being an even sign, we count backwards. So we have to take the 11th house from Makara, but count it backwards. So when you count it backwards, we don't go like this. We go like this, backwards. So when you count like this, what is the 11th house? Pisces. 11th house is Pisces. And where is the Pisces Lord?
Jupiter is Venus and Jupiter.
Jupiter. Jupiter is with Venus. So that is his
Gemini.
elder brother. Gemini shows elder brother. It has Jupiter and Venus in it. And so let us see, for example, is this the house of a businessman or the house of a serviceman? If you want to see that, even though this is not Dashamsha, see 6th is strong or 7th is strong. The Lagna Lord, Mercury is in the 6th house, along with Saturn. Saturn is the Karaka for 6th house, is the Karaka for working hard. So the house of work has Saturn and the Lagna Lord. So this person actually has an inclination to work. The person has an inclination to work. So he is a natural worker. But the 7th house is also quite strong. So he may actually be independent also. But he has an inclination. One thing you can see whenever you see Saturn with Lagna Lord, one thing you can see is the person will be inclined to work. He will be very disciplined and very hardworking. Now if you want to see when brother had growth, for example, if you want from the taking Gemini as Lagna, if you take Gemini as Lagna, 10th house is the house of career, right? 10th house is the house of career. Who is in the 10th house? Ketu. Actually, one of the rules given for one of the careers possible for Ketu is actually flying. Okay. So he is a pilot, and actually if you see Rajiv Gandhi's Dashamsha, if I don't remember it wrong, he also has Ketu in the 10th from Lagna in Dashamsha. So Ketu is basically, Ketu is the planet of moksha, going above, but he is also the planet of flying. So Ketu in the 10th house shows flying, and also the 7th house of desire has Moon and Mars. Moon and Mars together is called, does anybody know the name of that yoga? Chandramangala Yoga. Gajageshari is Moon and Jupiter. So it is Chandramangala Yoga. So because Moon and Mars being together is Chandramangala Yoga, and what are the houses owned by them? Moon was the 2nd house of resources and Mars owns the 6th and 11th house. Now, let us see. If I use the Graha, it becomes much more. Yeah?
Does it matter where Moon and Mars should be together, or it can be in any house?
It matters. It matters. The yoga will be powerful if they are in a friend's house. If they are, for example, in Aquarius, the yoga is not really that strong. Here, both of them are in friend Jupiter's house. So, because of that, the Chandramangal yoga will give its full results. So, now, who gives political power in this chart?
Sun is second house.
Sun in the second house, but what is the house of power? Fifth house. The fifth house is the house of power, right? Following. So, Venus is the fifth lord. He is in Lagna with who? With 10th and 7th lord. The 10th and 7th lord is with pardon me? I am not talking about Rashi, I am just talking about Venus and Jupiter together.
Yeah.
7th and 10th lord, two quadrants are owned by Jupiter,
Yeah.
and the trine, fifth house, is owned by Venus. So, their being together is a Raj Yoga. So, Venus, if you were, forget the dasha I have here. If there was a right dasha, using which you can time what happens to brother, which dasha would you expect to give good results to brother? Venus dasha. Venus, Jupiter are the planets. Here he ended up having power in Mars dasha. His brother, he became the Prime Minister of India, and I think his rise was in Mars Jupiter Antardasha. The Antardasha makes sense. The Antardasha was Jupiter Antardasha. So basically what this shows is, when you use somebody's dashas to see the events in somebody else's life, there is an inherent limitation. It will not be perfect. So there are other variations of the dasha which are tuned just for what happens to this brother. So if you use, for example, there is a Narayan dasha that you can find exclusively for this brother. When you find that, then things will make perfect sense. Here it doesn't make perfect sense. Jupiter and Venus are giving a Raj Yoga. And actually more than Venus, Jupiter is likely to give the result because he is also the dispositor of Chandramangal Yoga. There is a Chandramangal Yoga which makes a person achiever. So Jupiter being Chandramangal Yoga's dispositor and also being the 10th lord and being with 5th lord, Jupiter may give the result of the Raj Yoga better, more than Venus. So Mars Jupiter give Guru Mangal Yoga. So there are several yogas. Gajgeswari Yoga is also here. So there are several yogas. So Mars Jupiter is capable of taking this person to a height. But honestly, I would have expected Venus and Jupiter to play a better role. It to be Venus Jupiter or Jupiter Venus. But basically it makes sense. And this is a posthumous event. Basically after the person died. So again, you can't expect it to be perfect, because when he was alive, if his brother became powerful, that would have an impact on him, on his mental outlook, because this is a chart of mind, not soul. After the person dies, you will see events only to a limited extent, because the thing is, for some people, even when they are dead, the mind may still exist. The mind and soul are separated from the body, and they may exist for a long time, for tens of years, even hundreds of years. It depends on the time when they were dead, and also it depends on some other charts, but I am not really comfortable in that knowledge, so I can't really discuss that. But there are rules that tell you how long the mind will exist. So mind and soul are separated from the body decays, but the mind exists for a while, and then finally mind is also separated from the soul, and then mind decays, and then soul is taken to Urdhalokas or Adhalokas, the other spiritual worlds, heaven, hell, etc. So from that point of view, the mind may still be perceiving the results that are happening to the relatives. So from that point of view, Vimshottari Dasha may work even after death. But in some cases, you may find that it doesn't work after death.
His mind is dead.
Yeah, his mind is dead too. Basically, Vimshottari is the Dasha of mind. So remember this. Anyway, now, okay, we are almost done. So I will not take up a new chart, but let us, in the same chart, let us see something else. In Dreshkana, there are, if you see the software, because you guys have the software, apart from Parasara's Dreshkana, there are so many different Dreshkanas. I am just curious to see. I will not discuss it, just curious to see. I never saw his Jagannatha Dreshkana. Yes. Okay. Okay. There is this Dreshkana called Jagannatha Dreshkana, which shows the karma phala basically, karma phala. This is the chart which shows the good and bad because of the karma that you did in the past life, but at a very physical level. So I just wanted to see that moon was badly placed because they were suffering in that dasha and there was a lot of bad karma. Moon is in the 8th house. But I will not discuss this chart. But let me discuss another Dreshkana. And this chart, Somanatha Dreshkana, it shows the sexuality of the person. Dreshkana is basically based on the 3rd house as the seed. So all the Dreshkana, various variations of Dreshkana chart, they show things relating to initiative and drive. So sexual drive is another aspect of the drive. So that is seen from the Somanatha Dreshkana, another chart known as Somanatha Dreshkana chart. But let us leave that also. If at all we will do it much later, maybe there are so many other important things. But there is a chart known as Parivrittitraya Dreshkana. This Dreshkana, it shows the initiative of a person. It shows how a person, it shows the applied determination. This is the application of determination. So if you want to see, analyze what are the areas of life, what are the spheres of life in which one's determination is directed, then this is the chart. This Dreshkana is the chart. So if you see the Dreshkana chart, let us see. Basically planets in quadrants in Dreshkana chart or even trines, but quadrants are more important. Those are because quadrants are, like I said earlier, trines are the charts of blessings and quadrants are the houses of sustenance. Okay, but effort, I said. The word I used is blessings and effort. So when it comes to initiative and determination, I said this Parivrittitraya Dreshkana, it shows the application of determination, application of initiative. So in what direction one focuses his determination. So when you are seeing that, effort is more important than blessings. So quadrants are more important. But if any planet is in quadrants or trines, the natural significations of that planet will really prosper. The person's determination and energies will be focused in that direction. So here, who are the planets in quadrant? Mars and Mercury. And out of them, who's strong? Mars in being in Mula Trikona. So for somebody who's so full of fire, you would expect Mars to be actually strong. So because Mars is strong in a quadrant in Parivrittitraya Dreshkana, in the tricyclical D3 chart, what you can see is his aggressive spirit, the spirit of just do it. Don't think. If you think this is the right thing to do, just go and do it. The spirit that he has, which is symbolized by Mars, that spirit will be used in his effort. The way he uses his determination in his real life to decide what to do and what not to do, from that angle, this particular implementing his aggressive instincts, it just happens. There may be other inclinations that he has. For example, if you see that Jupiter is also quite well placed in the chart, so there is some inclination to be spiritual, be very Jupiter shows, be very wise. So all those instincts of wisdom, etc., instincts of having good discretion, those instincts may not actually manifest. When it comes to physical manifestation, whatever Mars shows in this chart will fully work because Mars is well placed. So if you see in your own chart, if you see that, for example, Mercury shows lot of writing ability, lot of communication abilities. But if you see that Mercury is not well placed in this chart, it shows that you may have the ability, you may have the instincts, but you may just not feel like doing it. This shows what actually gets done in your life. So this is the chart. Dashamsha, actually Dashamsha is what gets done, but this is basically the seed. This chart shows what you feel like getting done, where you apply your initiative, the drive that is within you, what areas of life you apply to. So one area of life where he applies to is the Martian area, the area of initiative and aggressive doing of things.
So this is for the brothers, right?
No. The Parasari Dreshkana is the chart that shows brothers. But Parivrittitraya Dreshkana is your own initiative.
Okay.
Yes, Kiran.
So I have two things. One is, what way should I,
add to this observation that Mercury is actually the third lord of the natural zodiac, and also he also happens to be the third lord in this chart.
Yeah.
And he's also in a quadrant.
Right.
So what is the like? Is there something that I can glean from this observation and then?
Yes, you can. So, but actually, Mercury also gives results. So, what is Mercury's agenda? If you see what Mercury stands for in this chart, he stands for the 6th house. He is the 6th lord in Rasi chart. Mercury is the 6th lord and 9th lord. What is 9th house? 9th house is dharma. 6th house is overcoming obstacles. So, that is Mercury's agenda. So, implementing that agenda also takes place. There may be other planets may have other agendas. For example, look at Jupiter. He is the 3rd lord of Pisces. So, that shows very peaceful and wise determination. And he is in the 10th house. So, he shows peaceful and very wise karma in the society. That is what Jupiter stands for in this chart. Is he well placed?
Rasi
In the Parivritti Dreshkana. He is in the 6th house.
is in his own house.
So, his agenda is spoiled. His agenda is spoiled. He does not end up doing much in that agenda. As far as the agendas of Mercury and Mars are concerned, he ends up doing more in those agendas. And what is Mercury's agenda? Like I said earlier, what is 9th house? Dharma. What kind of dharma Mercury stands for? Pragmatic dharma. Mercury is a pragmatist. Jupiter is an idealist, but Mercury is a pragmatist. So, Mercury being with Sun and Ketu, some kind of political dharma. Mercury is with Sun. So, there is some politics involved to his dharma. Some pragmatism and some politics, and Ketu. So, some kind of moksha kind of thing or some cutting off kind of thing is required. So, he saw that as his dharma, and that dharma will be implemented with full vigor because Mercury is in quadrant in the Parivritti Dreshkana. So, if you see in your own chart, if you see a planet that should make you do a particular thing is badly placed in the Parivritti Dreshkana, you may not feel like doing it. You may not have the initiative for doing that particular thing in life. And then what you can say is that particular thing, for example, whatever Jupiter stands for in this chart, Jupiter is weak, but another planet who is strong, Mars, he has Argala on Jupiter. So, during Mars Antardashas, that particular thing may get done. So, that is how you judge. So, if you see your own chart, for example, take astrology. Somebody, for example, you were interested in learning astrology, but you were always lazy to do it, let us say. And during a particular Antardasha, you are learning astrology with lot of determination. If you see, there will be some link with your Parivritti Dreshkana. Maybe the initiative is lacking, but a planet that can give you a strong initiative has an impact, and the Antardasha is running right now. And in general, when the Antardasha of a planet in a quadrant or trine in Parivritti Dreshkana comes, you will feel more energetic. You will feel like doing things. What things? That depends on who the planets are, what their influences are. But in general, those dashas are good. And if you are running dashas of planets who are in Dusthanas, in this Parivritti Dreshkana, then you may be more lethargic during those periods. So, during those periods, so in this case, if you want this person to do what Jupiter stands for example, Sanjay Gandhi came to you, and whatever result Jupiter gives, he wanted to do Jupiterian karma in society, and he wanted some help from you as an astrologer. What would you advise? Praying, more than praying to Jupiter, because Mercury and Mars are in quadrants from Lagna, and they have Argala. So, see who have Grahadrishti or Argala, who are strong in this chart. It is Mercury and Mars. Out of those, who is more inclined to help Jupiter? Mercury or Mars? Mars. Because Mars is in own sign, whereas Mercury is in Saturn sign. So, look at the relationship between Mercury and Jupiter. That decides how willing Mercury is to help Jupiter. And then look at the relationship between Saturn, the dispositor of Mercury, and Jupiter. That will decide how willing Saturn is to allow Mercury to help Jupiter. Because Mercury is at Saturn's disposal, because he is in Saturn's house. So, if somebody is at my house, and if I don't want him to go to a particular party, I can exert influence. Still, if the person is very aggressive, and if the party belongs to a very good friend of that person, if somebody is living in my house, he wants to go to a party of my enemy, but still if they are good friends, he may still go. But here, both the relationships are not that great. The Mercury-Jupiter relationship and Jupiter-Saturn relationship is not that great. So because of that, Mercury is unlikely to help Jupiter. So even in Mercury's Antardashas, he is unlikely to do Jupiterian karma. But in Mars periods, he is likely to do. So if you propitiate Mars, if you propitiate Subramanya, that will, but the problem with that is that will make him do more of Martian karma. But he will do Jupiterian karma also. So that is how you can look at it. Who will Mercury help more, Jupiter or Venus? Look at Venus there. Venus is also suffering. He is in 6th house. So whatever karma Venus shows, that is also suffering. So that karma will be helped by Mercury. Because Mercury is a friend of Venus and Mercury's dispositor Saturn is also a friend of Venus. Both of them are friends of Venus. So those two guys will help Venus. So in Mercury Antardashas, you can expect Venusian karma to get a boost, get an initiative. Now, before concluding, I will just take 2 more minutes. I am just curious to see his Saptamsha. Does anybody know if Varun Gandhi is his only son?
Yeah.
I think he's the only son, right? Okay. Okay, so I'm just curious. Now, if you see Saptamsha, the rules are the same. If the sign is odd, we count forward. If it is even, we count backward. And the houses are 5th house for the first child. And then for the second child is the younger brother of first child, right? So 3rd from there. So we see the 5th and then 3rd from there will be 7th, if you do the math later. So 5th, 7th, 9th, 11th and so on. They will show individual children. So here, Cancer is the Lagna. Is it odd or even? It is the 4th sign. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer. So because it is the 4th sign, it is even. Count backwards and count the 5th house. So Lord in own house. So that is the house. And then another rule is, whenever you keep counting like this, 5th, 7th, 9th, when Rahu and Ketu are encountered, it will basically stop. Rahu can actually put a stop. Rahu, Ketu put a stop to the flow. So here actually, looking at it, only one child is likely. But Jupiter is really strong. So if the person propitiated Jupiter, there is a chance of second child, etc.
But is it not that if Rahu Ketu are at the start of the axis, it still basically starts and continues till, say if Rahu was at in the 7th house, then it would have stopped it. But being in the start of the...
No, even in the 5th house it can stop right there. If the 5th house and the 7th house are not strong enough, when Rahu and Ketu are encountered, that can be the end of it.
What if you find Rahu and Ketu while counting after the 5th house? You ignore that and
then it will just go on. Yeah, when you complete the whole cycle, then they will end. Or Ketu may end before Rahu. Okay, so let us do all that later. But for now, what you have to remember is, take the 5th house. So first child is shown by Jupiter. Had there been a second child, which sign will be taken as Lagna for him? You have to take 7th house. That means 3rd from there. So this one is the sign. The Lord is Saturn. He is here. So you have taken that as the Lagna for the second child. Now anyway, and also to see male and female, there are some rules. If the odd signs will show male child, even signs will show female child. The only exceptions are these 2 signs and these 2 signs. Gemini, Cancer, and then Aquarius and Pisces. These 2 signs are exceptions. There male and female are reversed. Aquarius, even though it's an odd sign, shows female child. Pisces, even though it is an even sign, will show male child. And similarly Gemini, even though Gemini is an odd sign, it shows female child. Cancer is an even sign, but it shows male child. So those are the exceptions. If you remove those 4 signs, for all other signs, male sign or odd sign will show male child, even sign will show female child. That's the rule. And another exception is, if you have, you also look at what kind of planets are there. For example, Venus shows female child, Jupiter and Rahu show male child. Pardon me? Did I say male? Venus shows female child. Moon, Venus, they show female child. Mars, Rahu, Sun, Jupiter, they show male child. So I'll give a complete list in a handout in a future class. But there is a classification. And the final exception is, if a planet is debilitated, it will be female child. If it is exalted, it will be male child. Here using all the rules is a male child. Because Jupiter and Rahu, two planets are showing male child compared to one planet Venus, and the sign itself, Pisces, also shows a male child, and there is an exalted planet there, Venus, that also shows a male child. So definitely it's a male child, the first child is a male child. And now what kind of a child is it? Who dominates here? It's actually, there are multiple influences. Venus, Jupiter, Rahu, three totally different influences. But the one who dominates will be Jupiter. So it is a very idealistic person. He's an idealist. And then which other planet is strong?
Venus is strong, is exalted.
He is exalted, but he is the eighth lord. You would rather have him somewhere else. Had he been in Aquarius, it would have been better. The eighth lord in exaltation is bad. So the ideals of Jupiter are being spoiled by Rahu and Venus. Rahu is the demon, and Venus is the teacher of demons who teaches different things. And he is spoiling the Jupiter. And also being the exalted eighth lord, he gives lot of hardships in life. He has to rise hard. He has to rise after hard work. So eighth lord's exaltation is not good. So Venus and Rahu are actually spoiled sports there. So actually if you ask me, more than Jupiter, this person has a strong Mercury. If you see all the quadrants, there is another quadrant where Mercury is placed in one sign. That is Bhadra Yoga. There are two Mahapurusha Yogas, Hamsa Yoga given by Jupiter and Bhadra Yoga given by Mercury. And out of them, if you ask me, Mercury is stronger. Of course, he is also being aspected, even though he is not with any planet. All these planets are aspecting him, Venus, Rahu, Ketu. But he doesn't mind. When Venus, Rahu, Ketu aspect him, he behaves like them. He is happy. They are his friends. So Mercury is fine, even though Jupiter is not. So actually, there are some strong ideals of this person. But those ideals are challenged and also compromised. They are prone to compromise. On the other hand, Mercury in the fourth house, he is more well placed. So what does Mercury in fourth house give? Mercury is a planet of adapting, and then he is in the fourth house of comfort. So in general, fourth house lord being in the fourth house will show he is very balanced. He has balance and he is happy. He is contented always. Whether he is prime minister or not, whether he is chief minister or not, whether he is a minister or not, he is happy. There is that inherent balance to him. So that is the good thing. And also Mercury strong means an intelligent person. Even though Mercury is not in the second house, Mercury being strong in a chart makes the person, because Mercury is the speech Karaka, significator of speech, that person will be good at speech, and he is very intelligent person. He is a very learned and intelligent person. So I don't know how intelligent he is, but based on the chart, the first son of Sanjay Gandhi has to be quite intelligent, very nice analytical ability, very logical and very smart. Your question?
Now, what is the aspect on Mercury? Is the fourth house aspect? Is the Jupiter, Venus and Rahu have an aspect on Mercury?
Rashi Drishti.
Okay.
All the dual signs aspect all other dual signs. So all the planets in Pisces as well as Virgo, they have a Rashi Drishti on Mercury. Rashi Drishti means something that is permanent. So there is a permanent influence of Rahu Ketu on Mercury. Now another planet that is really well placed, which is a Sriram Raksha for this chart, is Mars. So if you look at, he is the second lord of resources and ninth lord of Bhagya and Dharma. He is exalted in the 11th house of gains. So overall he is fortunate. Overall this person is fortunate, but because of Venus he has to constantly struggle, work hard, and then Moon is badly placed. Fifth lord Moon is in the 8th house. So there are some bad indications relating to children, very unlucky relating to children, with respect to children. He is very unlucky. And how is, now you can see that, let's use the same dashas and quickly if you want to make a prediction. Where is Jupiter? Jupiter dasha is coming in 2008. And you see that we saw that Jupiter and Mercury are the good planets here. Of course, if you see Varun Gandhi's chart, you can make more confidently, you can make predictions more confidently. But based on his father's chart, his deceased father's chart, assuming that it still works, his Atma is still around, Jupiter dasha from 2008 is likely to be a very good dasha for him. Because Jupiter is not only Lagna Lord, but he is the 10th Lord in one sign. So that is a good period for his career. So with that I will end for, with that actually will I end? I want to end, but I just want to see. Okay, again he has fire. Good. Okay, with that I want to end for today. We will meet next week at the same time, at the same place. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.